There is one thing I feel is often overlooked when photographing not just food, but any subject in general. It's the ability to use light creatively to help emphasize the subject. In other words, using light to direct where you want the viewer's eye to go with almost exact precision, rather than just being a means to proper exposure. Lighting should be anything but formulaic. The moment it becomes a formula is when your images will start to suffer because it will start to look like everyone else's images. For example, if all I understood food photography lighting to be was that it's best to only side light, or to backlight, or to side backlight, then it'll be difficult for me to say that my images have any potential on improving. Like, there would be no way for my lighting skill to evolve. But I don't think lighting should be that way. So one way I'm finding that helps counter that mindset is thinking of ways to incorporate your light as part of your composition. Kind of weird to think of it in that way, right? Because we always think of lighting and composition as two separate things, but incorporating the two kind of is a little interesting. To show you what I mean, let's walk you through a simple demo. I think it's a great looking image with a simple lighting setup. I mean, I love the color contrast, and the light is directional, soft, and just overall pleasing. But there are times, like in this case, where I feel like the image just demands more. Like there's something missing. If we compare those two images, the first image is just, well, an image of orange juice and some props. Still looks nice, but in the second image, you can't help but notice how the light is presenting the subject to you. For me, it gives it more character. It has depth. It holds your attention longer. The principle at play here is what the role of tone and color have on your composition. Richard Garvey-Williams in his book, Mastering Composition, says this: an understanding and appreciation of how different tones and colors in an image can affect the movement of the viewer's eyes and their emotional response can further aid our ability to consciously construct meaningful images and ones with impact. Now, I'm not saying that you should put a spotlight on every piece of food that you shoot, although that would be mildly entertaining. What I'm saying is to shift away from thinking that there's only a few ways to light food in food photography, that there are only a few lighting setups that work, because there's always gonna be more than a few ways to look at something. All right, let's go back to the shoot, and this time I'm gonna build up my own interpretation of, well, a cup of orange juice, keeping in mind how I use the light as a compositional piece to help present the subject. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a base layer light, which will act as my ambient light. Another way to think of it is just as having an overall fill light so that in the end, the shadows in my image won't be too dark and it can create this painterly feel to it. At this point, I'm making sure the direction and quality of that light is flat because its job is to provide fill. And then once that's set, then I purposely underexpose that light about 3 stops. Now, depending on what look you're going for, you can expose this base layer between 1 and 4 stops. This is called a mag beam. And all this does is it extends the length at which the light can reach coming out of the flash. And it does this by using a Fresnel lens, which is this right here. And then within this mag beam, I have what's called a mag mask, which is given by the shape that it has on here. And this is what's going to create that intense beam of light that I want in this image. Do you see how I basically took 2 layers of light and combined them to create this image? And then here's what each light looks like by themselves. Now, this lighting technique is not exclusive to this piece of gear, but rather it derives from the same principle that I demonstrated earlier with those foam boards to create that triangle shape. All right, let's jump back in. The base layer light is great because it allows me to be more flexible with my second light. I mean, I can pretty much create a spotlight to bring attention to my subject or whatever it is I want attention to without completely darkening everything else. And that's the point. You can see the leaf on the bottom left, which I picked out in the backyard earlier, but it doesn't quite compete for attention. Now, it may have if I used another lighting setup, but that strong beam of light helps the eye concentrate on the juice first, then moves around the image from there rather than make the viewer guess or even be confused at what it should be looking at. And in addition, adding a gel to that beam of light gives this image a mood. For me, that mood is relaxed. Like I imagine the orange juice is refreshing on a warm summer afternoon. All right, I hope this was helpful in terms of being able to see how light can be more than just a means to a proper exposure, more than just a few lighting directions, and also that this inspires you to experiment more, to test things out, finding different ways to highlight particular areas of your image, and in the end, add more styles and techniques to your lighting arsenal. All right, hit that like button if you found this video helpful, and remember to subscribe if you aren't already. Also, if you'd like to receive updates on future courses and other content that I plan on releasing, there's a link to my website in the description below where you can enter your email and sign up. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.